This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne. I'm ready to give to you, presenting to you right here, live at 5:50 a.m. Central Time, the latest in yesterday's information, politics, current events, and pop culture. We are giving you, as your go-to supplemental source for both mainstream and unconventional news stories, some stories you may have missed with a little extra context that we think we can give to you because we're doing it together. Conversational, if you will. If you're watching the video, you're seeing the teaser graphic, which is a picture from a few days ago of some striking actors who were on the picket lines. We have news on that and 7 other news stories to get to in just a minute that were vetted by U.S. Conversational and then, of course, crafted into this 8 cast with me. I got a chance to pick from the top 15 stories. We'll explain that vetting process in just a bit at the end of the headlines, plus some fun things to get to. So make sure you stick around for the full show because you don't want to miss out on any bit of the stuff. The candy comes at the end. More information about the full offerings that we have for the Conversation Project come from our website. Learn all about us at this is theconversationproject.com. Now, let's get to the headlines for this morning. 8 of them, of course, vetted by you and curated by me on this morning. Today, in case you didn't know, as we record this, Thursday, November the 9th, 2023. Let's get into the first story for the morning. Headline number 1 reads like this. SAG-AFTRA and Hollywood studios reach a tentative agreement to resolve the strike. It's over. Mostly. Now, it can be over officially today as the actors have to actually ratify the deal, but literally the last hour, 11:59 on the dot, as the writers had a one more time to do this one last deal that the producers, the actual movie studios and TV studios offered up as the last thing they can do. And Fran Drescher pulled the trigger and said, yeah, let's do this. Tens of thousands of actors are headed to the picket lines to basically say one more time, we're down with this. It is tentative, of course, so we'll see what happens with the actual agreement. It has to be ratified by the voting bodies of the actors. But what we have is a very, 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 very long time that had no TV production, no television, no movies production going on. And Mayor Karen Bass, because Los Angeles is a big hotbed for movie stuff, Atlanta, Toronto, places like that, with American actors, are happy because this means now the Writers Guild is back to work and ready to get some scripts out. The actors can be back to work in a matter of days for smaller parts, for months for some bigger parts. That means the TV seasons for the following end of this part, and maybe, or definitely for next season, will be saved. We won't be too long without any new actual programming coming forward. Headline number 2. Nintendo and Sony team up for Legend of Zelda movie. Now that we know that the movie theaters will be back to work, we have this news coming out of TV land, video game land, tech land, that Nintendo and Sony are going to work together for a live action adaptation of The Legend of Zelda. This is real people, not CGI, not animation. It's going to be directed by Wes Ball. And so this next movie coming out is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which people are looking forward to, coming out in early of 2024. This one will be based on the game series created by Shinge Miyatu in 1986. Has had several sequels, several is understatement of sequels for the game, and has grown with the technology and grown with the storyline of Link, the young elf who is fighting for the Legend of Zelda, if you will. Disney is backing some things up as well with their movie offerings, but this is a deal that comes between Nintendo, the owner of the series, and Sony, who's trying to fight some of the Disney power, even though they're sharing a bit of it with their Spider-Man into the Marvel Universe. Showing that Super Mario Brothers movie, the new one, is a smash. Video games are going to be all the rage these days, and Zelda is a good one to actually pull for. The next headline reads like this. Detroit police arrest suspect in killing of Samantha Woll. Police have a suspect in custody in the slaying of Samantha Woll, a prominent Jewish leader and president of the downtown Detroit synagogue. The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office has not yet received the warrant request, and no charges have been issued. One of the sort of the leading pieces about this case was Miss Wall was killed outside of her home fairly early in the beginnings of the conflict in Israel. This, of course, where Hamas, brutally came out and did the terrorist attack on Israel, and now there's, we'll just call it retaliation for lack of anything else to go along with the story here. And so with that, a lot of anti-Semitic attacks, a lot of anti-Semitic speech has happened here in the United States. So let's say a lot more because it's always been there. And this actual attack, this actual killing, was at first one people wonder whether this was a sort of a retaliation for the conflict over there. Seems like this is not the case. We'll find out more details on this later, as you heard from the article here. Not a lot of details have been released, at least at the time we pulled this story. But we do have someone in custody, and we'll see how this plays out going forward. For our next headline, Spotify's new rules mean that over half of all songs on the platform won't be eligible for royalty payouts, according to reports. Spotify has been sort of the devil in the world of music. Spotify, which I am a proud user of, allows you access to essentially all the big artists, all the big podcasts, all the big audio that you want to get out there. Some people are refusing to be on there because of the way they handle royalties. Some people refuse to be on there in general for streaming because of royalties. So that's that. So you can't get everything on Spotify, but you get most of the things you're really looking for because they're really good to the big artists. And if everyone's out there, the big artists are there, the small artists will be there as well. The problem now is they've changed some of the way the royalties work out, so the money's not so great for most of the players. This is going to be something that's going to actually ripple down to the podcasting links, because right now Joe Rogan essentially is negotiating for his podcast rights exclusively as a podcast at Spotify. Still has his YouTube clips or whatever, but he's going to see whether he's going to stick around because he's the highest paid podcaster on the platform, and whether the money stays right for him because of the royalty setup or because they do something special, we will see. But as far as musicians, Spotify is not the best place to be if looking for money. Exposure, maybe. Money, definitely not. Virgin Galactic lays off staff as it focuses on next generation of suborbital vehicle. This is a story that hits home to me personally because, as full disclosure, I own a big chunk of money in Virgin Galactic as stock, and I've been kind of mulling over what to do with it for a while. And in the next couple of days, I may have made my decision if this thing doesn't work out. On November the 7th, they announced they're going to lay off and cut expenses, lay off staff, cut expenses to conserve resources for the next generation of suborbital space planes, essentially saving money to build the planes so they can keep on going forward with the actual technology and not dealing with the people involved. Does that mean things don't get done? Well, yeah, it means most things can't get done with a smaller staff. Some things aren't getting done. But right now, Virgin Galactic's not flying a lot of flights, so it's not like they need a bunch of pilots. They need a bunch of staff to take ticket orders. They are essentially in the race to be billionaires, spending lots of money to go into space. Virgin Galactic is more or less the leader in the start time, but so far they are lagging very much behind in technology. Jeff Bezos has had maybe 3 flights in the sky so far, and of course, Elon Musk has his flights that are actually going into space to serve for the space station, so it's actually doing some work. This sort of glider in the sky is not doing as well as others in the profit level, although none of them make any profit. It's literally billionaires spending their money to be billionaires. And we'll see if they can come through. As I said, I own stock in Virgin Galactic. It's called Space. That's the ticker symbol, and it hadn't been doing well in quite some time. And it's very, very, very below what I would like it to be profitable. We'll see whether I keep it in the next couple of days, and I'll let you guys know. Let you guys know insider trading. Just let you guys know how I'm doing with my stuff. I'm not sure why this is in, mostly because I don't care, but people seem to care. When we posted this out there yesterday as a teaser, you jumped on the teaser. So Lori Harvey and Damson Idris split after 1 year of dating with, quote, nothing but love and respect for each other. Now, Lori Harvey is basically Steve Harvey's actual daughter. I thought it was his stepdaughter, but it's listed as Steve's youngest daughter. So whatever. But essentially, she's a model. She hangs out with rich people. She's famous for being Steve Harvey's daughter, I guess. And this other guy, Damon Idris, who I believe is an actor. He's an actor. He's been in some stuff I hadn't seen, unfortunately. Have broken up. Of course, the big story is that Lori Harvey breaks up with a lot of people. She's like the Taylor Swift with less talent. And the biggest thing was she broke up with Michael B. Jordan, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. And him and Harvey had a hug it out thing in Qatar or something like that because they saw each other. So if you're waiting, Lori Harvey, once again, on the market. You're welcome, I guess. Here's a story that brings back fond memories. Politicians, high-tech and pharmaceutical executives, doctors, military officers were clients of high-end brothel network, that's in quotes, in Boston and Northern Virginia. We pulled this from ABC News, and they had all the tea on this one. And you can see in the link and go deeper into detail for the story for a, quote, high-end brothel network, it's in quotes, was allegedly running out of Boston and Northern Virginia and included politicians, high-tech and pharmaceutical executives, doctors, military officers, government contractors who possess security clearances, professors, lawyers, scientists, and accountants. That all couldn't fit in the very long headline it was, but there you go. Very prominent people who probably don't want people to know what's going on behind the sheets with other people who aren't their wives are going to this quote-unquote high-end brothel network run out of Boston and Northern Virginia. The trio running this advertised their services on 2 websites, but in reality, they were a brothel that charged between $350 and $600 per hour for services. Well, fairly reasonable. Phone records of customers who use the services and texted them with a menu, that's in quotes as well, of available services. There are some people out there right now who are extremely embarrassed because their business is all out there now. And now, it's time to cheer because the WWE is back on the WB, or technically the CW. CW, which was born out of the birth of actually, WB was on UPN. I get them confused. The birth of a merger between UPN and the WB, 2 offshoot networks that merged to be in the CW at some point and basically scrapped all its programming and now is doing golf and WWE, essentially doing NXT, the NXT show, which is the third brand, the sort of developmental brand for the WWE's brand, now part of TKO, is going to be on network television, and it's a CW, or somewhat semi-cable television, because CWs are kind of wonky in where they are. Coming to the CW network in upcoming years. Right now, the USA Network is having some issues on whether they're going to keep their WWE platform. It's been one of the big mainstays for a long time, and the WWE has lived, a lot of WWs, on USA with the flagship show, the 3-hour Monday Night Raw, and then the WWE show NXT, a lot of letters there, that has floated from Wednesdays to Tuesdays, and at one point was just literally a sort of game show for working developmental issues for their performers. Right now, we're looking to see where Fox will stand in this thing. Well, right now, they're the holders of SmackDown. They probably will continue to be the holders of SmackDown when the new deal comes through, and whether USA will remain a place for the WWE. It's always big popular content to keep up with them. Whenever they've moved, there have been a couple chances where they went to the Nashville network, which turned into the national network, and there have been some other places as well in the wars back in the 90s. Right now, USA is sort of the home for what we usually think of as your setup for WWE, formerly WWF wrestling. And right at this point going on, new money, big money, new ideas is going to change how things work out. Let's get to the apologies, errors, and omissions. Big apology because I thought I had actually ported my script over from one program to another to the teleprompter. I didn't, so I had to go to find the notes real quick to get into it. So apologies for that little scramble and a little bit of a fluster. And a quick apology for yesterday. If you were watching yesterday or you tried to look for it yesterday and find out you can find us, we had a serious illness issue where someone got stuck into a coughing fit that would not stop for about 5 minutes. We ended the broadcast. We pulled it off the feeds, and so there is no Wednesday edition, unfortunately. We did send out the newsletter with the wrong day on it. We do that often, unfortunately. So you did get the links out there. You subscribe to the newsletter, so look for us online, go to our website and subscribe to the newsletter so you don't miss out those links. Those come out regardless of how bad we screw up the show. But that just happens. Just a full disclosure, if you're looking for the podcast or for the video from yesterday, real medical emergency. I could not stop coughing for about 5 minutes, so it was not worth continuing to try to edit that out. As far as omissions, we did not get this story in today. Kansas coach Bill Self signs richest college basketball contract ever given by a public university. Go to AP News, search for Bill Self, and learn about the Kansas coach who's now the high-paid, big fat cat on the whatever hill. They're all called the hills. On the hills in Kansas, ruling basketball. Hadn't won a championship in a bit, but it's been pretty popular, pretty prominent. See what he's doing and how he's doing to keep his money and whether he has a vault like Scrooge McDuck to swim in it. I'm sure he does. Let's talk about our teaser story for this morning. This is a story that we could talk about for the Friday edition. And this is a chance to explain how the feeds work and how we get their stories fed to us for our broadcast and all our things we do, because it's really all about news stories and conversational stories that you think are worth talking about. This story is an interesting one. Check it out. Shrek 5 is happening. At least we think. The release date has been leaked through a intern's resume from NBC Universal. Some intern wrote their resume and put it out there saying that he worked on Shrek 5. We're going to go detail on this one. TMZ has this link, but there'll be more of them out there soon unless they actually pull it from us. Check it out by going to our feeds. Our feeds are on Facebook and Twitter. Go to facebook.com/This Is a Conversation Project or x.com, twitter.com/th_conversation. And what you can do is every 50 minutes or so, we post a news story for you to engage in. Engage in it. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. The more you click on things and click away from things on the page, the more stories we know are worthy of talking about. You tell us you want to talk about Shrek, and we'll talk about Shrek. Otherwise, there'll be about 30 to 32 stories based on how time works to choose from tomorrow, and we'll take the top 15 of those stories and pick 8 of them out of that. So you go to our feeds, you let us know how it's working for you, and we will let you know what you want to talk about, because that's how it works around here. Now we're going to talk about our sponsor we're spotlighting for this morning. It is Hostage Tape. And while this definitely would not have helped me yesterday in my coughing fit, this is something that can help you out in your breathing. Because oddly enough, you're meant to be breathing through your nostrils, your nose, these two things right here if you're watching the video, not through your mouth. If you're sleeping at night and snoring or you have like closed airways so your mouth opens up to try to take in air, that's really bad. If you're trying to exercise and trying to be efficient and use your circulatory respiratory system to get the full effects and your mouth breathing, that's not great. Mouth tape is one way to fix that. And Hostage Tape is the most comfortable mouth tape on the planet. Put it on. It's easy to put on, easy to take off, doesn't really hurt, and it just keeps your mouth closed. Instead of putting a Band-Aid on your nose to open it up, just close your mouth and use mouth tape like Hostage Tape to get this done. Check it out. There are many, many, many testimonials on how great it is, and you can see them for yourself. And if you buy from them through our link, you will help us out in the long run. Check out the link at thisisaconversationproject.com/hostage tape. This is aconversationproject.com/hostage tape for your chance to maybe save your life with health, or save your life because you're snoring and your spouse really hates it. Check it out today. This is affiliate link, so we get a bit back when you go to them. It costs you nothing extra, so you can check out Hostage Tape. Check out our website. We already mentioned it a few times before, but one more time with feeling. The Conversation Project is living at thisistheconversationproject.com. What do we do at the Conversation Project? All day long, every 50 minutes or so, we're posting news stories from various sources for you to engage in, so we know what stories are conversational. This is not just a rundown of what's going on there and figuring out what to put out there because we need to tell you what to think. This is literally a rundown all day long of stories to see what stories pick up the pace for conversation based on social media engagement and sometimes some direct input from you guys as well. So you want to get direct input, go to our feeds and you put in the votes via the engagement. Go to our email. Let us know what stories that you think we're missing, because we don't do all the stories. We got about 33 stories this morning, and we pulled from the top 15 an engagement to give to you. So if you think the story that you wanted to get out there was a better story, let me know. We'll take a look at it. Also, if you want to be a real direct source, go to our webpage and click on the partnerships link and see if you can partner up so we can do some direct work together. We thank you in advance for anything you want to offer up. But we assure you, the freer stuff, going to the feeds and emailing us, that's just great. That's awesome. Now, the funner stuff. The fun stuff for the day always starts with birthdays. Now, this is an interesting one because we used to do the 3 birthdays all together and do the long rundown for the fun stuff. Today, we're doing that just because we have a extra special birthday. So we are spotlighting Chris Jericho, the Lionheart Chris Jericho, the man Chris Jericho, one of my favorite wrestlers who we are essentially the same age, which is amazing. He's still doing it at the level he is, although, we're both 50-ish, so it's amazing that he's still out there making it work and just doing his Fozzy stuff as a musician and just being kind of awesome. So that's kind of cool on that end. But we also want to spotlight because We do birthday twins often here on the birthdays when famous people have the same birthday and the same birth year. They don't have the same birth year, obviously, but happy birthday to the married birthday couple, Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey. Yes, Nick and Vanessa Lachey share the same birthday. Happy birthday to the lovely couple on this. Now, obviously, this would not happen if it was Jessica Simpson, but here's another notch in the belt for Nick and Vanessa having the same birthday to share with themselves, I guess with us as well, in theory. Also, we talk about in a day in history, Jack the Ripper killed Mary Jane Kelly, his last known victim, on this day, November the 9th, way back in 1888. And we're going to celebrate Scrapple Day today. We did this last year. We started the celebration things officially last year when I basically bought the service. And we pulled Scrapple Day last year on this day. And the reason behind it is a little silly. It's basically because we kind of didn't know what to do with anything else on the day. Those days were kind of bland and boring. So we gave you Scrapple Day. National Scrapple Day on November 9th is to celebrate the comfort food that has been swirling around our bellies for hundreds of years. It's a dish born from humble beginnings as the first pork food invented in America. There you go. And has become a traditional staple in mid-Atlantic states. Scrapple combines pork scraps with buckwheat flour, cornmeal, and spices in what is a great example of taking food that would otherwise have gone to waste and turning it into something tasty and delicious. It's a perfect side dish that goes great with ketchup. If you've never tried it before, today may be the day. Now, today was probably not the day if you're not someplace where it's served mostly, because it is, like I said, a mid-Atlantic dish. The South doesn't do scrapple. We throw other things together into various forms of mash and just eat them up. If you have had chitlins before, trust me, you don't know what you're missing, and you probably don't want to know what you're missing. But scrapple, something that people love, people adore, people eat a lot of it. We celebrate it on this day, on November the 9th. Don't know where it came from, or at least the exact origins of it, but it's a big deal. Trust me. Another big deal is this thing, and the fact that we've done it for today. Today has been, as I finish these words, the Thursday, November 9th edition, 2023, for things you might have heard. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much for joining us for the journey, joining us for the ride, joining us for our talk about Scrapple, because we do it every single year, apparently, and just joining us for everything we're doing. This is a community project, if you will, even if I'm taking all the credit, but you guys are doing the bulk of the work. Stop by our feeds and let me know what to talk about, because that's how things work out. Go to your email machine and email us to let us know what we can do to do things better, and partner up if you think we're worthy. Stay limber, stay hydrated, and on task for all the grand things you are here to do on the planet. Went a little bit longer than we did before. I guess you get out of rhythms there, but we're doing our best to keep it pithy, keep it light, and when I can find my files properly and not have to vamp, we get these things done pretty well. Let me know what you think about this, and let me know what you think about tomorrow's stories by going to the feeds. See what I did there. We'll see you tomorrow for the Friday edition, and let's have some fun. Find us online wherever you want to find us, and let's enjoy ourselves together, shall we?